Okay, 8 seconds. It's time to start the show, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
You're watching PTZOptics Live, a 1080p broadcast available exclusively on YouTube Live every Friday, streaming at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Broadcast quality made affordable. Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to PTZOptics Live. We are so happy to have you here on this beautiful Friday, July 14th, Woohoo! 2 days after some amazing NewTek NDI news just released, hot off the press. We had to bring in Nick Smith from JB&A to help us with some of this cool new stuff. Thanks for being here, Nick.
Thanks for having me. Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. As you guys all probably know, unless you're brand new, we live stream every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's 11 a.m. Pacific. And we actually broadcast to Facebook and YouTube using the NewTek NDI, which we're going to show off today in all its glory. And I just want to let you guys know, I'm covering up Nick for a second to let people know our charitable donations. If you hit that like button, you are helping us add $1 to our charity up to $250. And now that we're on Facebook, we can probably up our charitable donations quite a bit.
That includes Facebook likes.
We recently, this is super recent, we recently released 4 NDI camera models have been announced. There's going to be shipping sometime in the fall. We've got some really cool, if you're a current SDI Gen 2 customer, we've got some new news for you that's going to make you pretty happy, and I'm going to unveil that with Nick today. But first I want to start off with a social media update from Tess.
Thank you very much, Paul. Hi, everybody in YouTube and on Facebook. Welcome. Talk to me in the chat. We have our latest Facebook users up here on a vMix title. So this is our latest 10 users. We're pulling them in via our data sources. We just want to show some love to you and say welcome to the family. If you haven't yet joined the Facebook user group, head to facebook.com/groups/PTZOptics pals. I feel like I've been saying that on overload. But if you didn't catch me saying that 500 times in the pre-show, I swear that's the last time I'll say it. Actually, that's not true. I might say it at the end of the show too. Anyways, thank you guys. It's a great place to come be a part of our community and hang out after the show.
It's so funny, Tess. I know you've said it a lot, but I swear every time that Tess says it, there's like 3 more users. We just got one. So that's what kind of happens, and it's a super fun. Thank you, Bob Fisher. You know, it's a super fun little community. I want to start off, Nick, by taking you into the lightning round. Tess is going to grill you for a moment here, and we're going to get to know you a little bit better before we jump into the show.
And I don't even think we prepped him on the lightning round.
No, this is news.
This is going to be complete news to you, so okay. I hope you enjoy. Here we go.
All right, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee all the way. Apple or Android?
Oh, Android.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Mac. What is your favorite movie?
Dune.
Doom?
No, Dune.
I don't know. Oh my God, I don't know that movie.
Way 80s, early Kyle MacLachlan.
No, it sounds familiar, and okay. I was just trying to think. Have I seen that one? I haven't. That's one of those I haven't even heard of in this. Your favorite book?
Seven Eves.
Favorite candy?
Ooh, Twix bar.
Twix. I love Twix. And last but not least, this is the hard one. If you could go back to any place and time in history, when and where would you go?
Rome, or ancient Rome.
Ancient Rome. That would certainly be interesting.
I think that would be
Thank you so much for...
Well, that wasn't as painful as you made it out to be with the lightning, so that's good.
Thanks for playing along with us. Some people get stumped on that last question.
Here we go. So we've got some up. Looks like Matt Davis is in the chat. What did he say? He's our boss. We have to be careful.
Excellent choice of movie.
Oh, excellent choice of movie.
Oh,
he said. Good.
Somebody knew what it was. That's good.
I'm probably the only one that didn't know what it was.
So Nick, we kind of learned a little bit about you there, so I'm not too worried about learning about you, but tell us about your company.
All right, so JB&A is a distributor of your product along with NewTek and other stuff, and we're a unique bunch. We're a bunch of nerds that love technology, and we decided, well, if we're going to love it, let's sell it. And we work through the dealers in North America to help them place really cool products in unique applications. We do a lot in live production and post-production and broadcast. And all of our products, we partner with our dealers to help find the right fit and the right products for them. So, we're kind of like a consultant / distributor / best friend.
I love it.
It's true. And you guys definitely have that feel, which I love. Okay, so that gives us a little insight, and our next topic is about the NewTek NDI. Specifically, I wanted to jump right into this because I know there's a lot of questions. Tess, you're watching the chat.
Yep, both chats.
As soon as those questions come up, we're going to be answering them. I just want everyone to know that we will be having Andrew Cross on the show next Friday. So prepare your tough questions for Andrew.
I am writing them down, man. We're going to grill him.
I think we're allowed to. We're allowed to grill him, and I'm excited about grilling him. And so just bring those questions. But I got a little presentation, and Nick and I and Tess are going to kind of chime in here and take us through just the basics. And I think the first question I want to ask you, Nick, is what is explain to me a world where we don't need RS-232 and HD-SDI cabling? Because that's the world we all grew up in. That's the world we know and love. And now NewTek's kind of flipping us on our head and saying you don't no longer need those cables.
Yeah, okay, let's just take the RS-232 first. First, nobody even knows what it is because is it Visca? Is it a Sony 8-pin? Is it a DB9? What is it, right? And what's the correct pin out? So let's junk that cable because everybody's gone to IP control of their cameras. So now finally the switchers can take control of that and loop it into the same stream. And it's all it really is control, guys. It's a serial string of data that says move left, move right, move up, move down, zoom in, zoom out. And we're saying, let's not do it over a fixed cable because there are distance limitations with that fixed cable. There's pin out mismatches if you're trying to use a Cat5 balun. There's all this mess. It's like junk it. What we're going to do now is just use the network. The same way we're transmitting video with NDI. Right, so that's off the table. Now I don't have to worry about people not having the right serial cable, the right 232 cable. Next, now we can talk about SDI. SDI has been awesome. I've built so many studios around SDI because look, it's a cable, and that one cable carries a lot of data. It carries the video, it carries the audio. I mean, most people don't realize they can use up to 16 channels of audio down an SDI cable, right? So it's a phenomenal piece of technology, but it also is a cable. And in the end, cables have limitations, distances, crimping that cable, making sure it's been done correctly. So now that's off the table. What do I need? A Cat5 cable. Perfect. You can't mess that up because I can go buy it from Fry's or Best Buy or wherever I need or Amazon, and I can plug that cable in, and I now have video, and I have control, and I have audio, and I have all kinds of other ancillary data, and I'm just using my network. Does that sum it up?
Yeah, no, you did a great job summing that up. And just using your network is something that I don't think a lot of people today, I know, like Tess and I just did a live stream a couple of weeks ago. We didn't bring a network with us. A lot of people, they go do portable, they run SDI, they run serial, it just makes sense. And I was like, I'm not going to set up a network. I'm not going to set up a Wi-Fi router, which I wish I would have done, and after thinking about it with the automation through IP, next year when I do this event that we do every year, I'm definitely setting up a network switch. I have to mention this, I guess. I should have put this further down in the presentation.
Oh, you blew the big story came out early. Fair enough.
And what I want to talk about is the network and all of that. But let's just all cards on the table here, everybody. If you have a Gen 2 PTZOptics camera that's SDI, there will be a limited time promotion for $300. You can upgrade to the NDI firmware when it's available. So it's going to be available for pre-order. And that's a $300 savings. NewTek really wants to help people get on board, bring their workflows into IP, look at things differently, which is what we're talking about today. And this $300 upgrade cost is going to be a steal of a price. It's only available for a limited time. We'll talk about that next week with Andrew, but I wanted to get into what is a network. Can you explain to me, Nick, just for those of us out there who might not be understanding this, a local area network, different than a WAP, which is a wireless access point, different from a WAN, which is a wide area network. Can you just kind of explain to us? I think a lot of people are going to be bringing power over Ethernet, gigabit, 5 gigabit, 10 gigabit switches with them when they live stream, and why are they going to do that?
Hold on, because I'm in the nerd cave, so let me go grab something that will help us tell this story.
Okay, good. So
he's a character.
He is a character. I don't know if anyone saw.
I don't even know what he's bringing.
The funny thumbnail where he's like the Simpsons character. It was so funny.
All right, now that's exciting TV when one of your commentators gets up and leaves. But
that's live streaming for you.
Let's talk about WANs versus WAPs versus networks. I mean, so the reality of it is, Studio is one of these, and it's not necessarily a TP-Link. That was just the cheap one I had, sitting in the office. But it's a network switch, and it's the core of everything you're doing. All these ports are your network ports where you're going to plug Ethernet cables into and string those to all your devices. Most people don't know they exist because the reality is they're in a space, an office where there's just a jack on the wall, and they plug items into it, Ethernet cables that run to their, to their computer, their laptop, their switch, or whatever their device is. So at the heart of every network is one of those switches, or in many cases, a bunch of those switches, depending on how big the network is. So there, I've seen rooms with, just stacks and stacks of them all connected together. What this allows is that everybody has the ability, no matter what room you're in the building, to connect to the network. And once you're on the network, that means any device that has its sharing capabilities turned on can be seen by other devices that can share that. So an NDI camera at the other end of the building can be connected to the network, and we can access it from this room in the building because it's all on the same network. Now, that's different from, obviously, a WAN, which is meaning I'm wirelessly connected. I am now no longer tethered by a cable. I'm now flexibly remote, like my phone is flexibly remote, but I'm on the same network and I can access the same content, be it creating an NDI stream and pumping it into the network. But that inherently comes with problems, and I don't know if we want to talk about that now or we'll hit on that a little later.
I have a slide for that.
Okay, so we'll come back to that. But the point of it is that network switch right there connects all of our devices together so that they can communicate together at the highest speed each device is possible of attaining, right? So be it 10 megabits, 100 megabits, a gig, or as we get into larger networks, 10 gig and 40 gig. And then you're talking about you've got the 5 gigabit on there, which is a new protocol that's just been ratified in the last year, which is 5 and 25 gig networks. So all this is wonderful because it gives us more capability to push more data down a single cable.
So this slide that we didn't touch on yet, the vMix, the Wirecast, the live stream, the TriCaster, the VLC, the OBS. This is what NewTek I really have to give them credit for, is they've went out, and it's been out for a little over a year, I guess, NDI, and already all the major live streaming platforms inherently support NDI. So this is something where you can have an NDI camera on one side of the building and connect to it with your Wirecaster, your vMix, and your TriCaster. And I think that's the story we're going to try to bring to life today.
Yeah. Well, and take it beyond the building. Like I go to college campuses where, look, if you think about it, every building on campus is actually on the same network. So whether I'm in the stadium or the auditorium where they're doing a play, I'm on the same network. So now if I want to broadcast a production that's live on stage, but I don't have the broadcast facility right there, it doesn't matter. I can encode via NDI tools or plug in PTZOptics cameras into the network and go pick those cameras up in the broadcast studio in the stadium across campus. Now we've just opened up the ability to produce content anywhere on campus and share that content out, without having to worry about going and setting up an SDI router and all that other gear that we would have in the past.
So let's talk, before I go to the next slide, 10100 gigabit, 10 gigabit, you mentioned it. Generally at this point, it seems that an NDI stream is 90 to 100 megabits. And what that means is that if you have a 10100, you pretty much shouldn't be using NDI at all. If you've got a gigabit switch, that means you can get 9, 10, maybe 11, but probably just 10 NDI sources on your network, and that means we're sending, receiving video, camera, stuff like that. And I feel like really realistically, it's the 5 gigabit, the 10 gigabit, the 25 gigabit switches where we're really going to start to see this stuff come into action. Would you agree with me there? And kind of
yeah, and we struggle with this one all the time in the data world. Is people go, I got a gig E port, so I should be getting 1,000 megs, right? Well, the reality is no, you're not going to get 1,000 megs just because you have a gig E port, because the way network protocols work is that the data that's being streamed has to be checked and balanced to ensure that it's getting there. So you never really can saturate a full gig E pipe, because of the fact that there are certain network protocols there that ensure data is flowing, and data is reverse flowing. Remember, that cable goes, unlike an SDI cable, which goes one direction, that Ethernet cable goes two directions. So we've got data flowing across that gig E port. So you never can get full saturation unless you're using things like iSCSI and all these other network protocols. So we do want to ensure we've got the best possible connection to the device that's going to suck the most data. So if we look at some of the new switchers coming out, they've got 10 gig and 40 gig ports on them because they're the hub of all the data coming in. They're sucking in 10, 15, 20 NDI sources, and they need to have the most bandwidth available to them. Whereas the camera itself, like the PTZ camera, is only spitting a stream one direction. So it needs to have, a minimum a gig E port so that it has enough bandwidth to push full motion video. But we definitely want to be thinking about that when we're designing a system for a client to say, okay, well, let's look at your network topology. Let's look at where you're going to be generating content, where you're going to be consuming content, to ensure you've got the most bandwidth available at that location.
Yes, and eventually we're actually going to talk about multicasting, but before we do, I want to talk about simulcasting, a very different thing than multicasting.
We got corrected on that a couple days ago.
But we are simulcasting right now, and we're using NDI to do it. So our main broadcast PC is sending out 1080p stream to YouTube, and then via NDI we're connecting to Tess's PC over here, which is sending out a 720p stream to Facebook, and that's how we're connecting the two. So that's, I think, simulcasting. The ability to do that is going to be huge for people out there who are, just getting into seeing what NDI can do for them. This is a great, anybody can do this, whether you're using OBS or XSplit or vMix or Wirecast or Livestream, VLC or a TriCaster. You can do this with NDI, and I think it's a great stepping stone to dipping your toes in. Now, I wanted to show a little bit of cost savings here. It's a teensy bit cut off, but if you guys can follow me here.
I'm trying to get around to see the rest of it. There it is. Okay, I got it.
There we go. So, and I just wanted to throw this out there from a cost savings standpoint. 100 foot of SDI cabling from PTZOptics is $189. 100 foot of RS-232 cabling is $109. So right there, $300 in cabling, what you can replace with a $25 cable from Best Buy. All right, so $275 we're saving. Now for each one of those,
or 10 from Amazon.
Yeah, right. Now also,
I actually have more cables from Best Buy fail on me than ever work. So I just stay away from them. Find a local Fry's or a Tech Data or something that has better cables, because those cables matter in the end. The connectors matter, the cable itself matters, the jacket matters, because those things do break down, and you want to make sure you got the best going.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to replace $300 worth of cabling, don't do it with the cheapest cable you can find, but it's going to be a huge savings. The frame grabber's a huge savings, right? We're going to be using IP to ingest the video, not a hardware-based expensive frame grabber. And then the joystick, here's just our standard HC Joy -G2. We don't need to buy that anymore. So right here's $1,000 worth of saving for one camera. Okay, so we're opening up some doors. Now let's think about it from a 4-camera system. Times that cabling times 4, a 4-port HD-SDI switcher, a joystick. Now we're talking about $23.90. So there's huge cost savings to be had here, but the biggest advantage is priceless, and that's your interconnected workflow, which is what we're going to dig into with Nick here. And I wanted to take a church example. I did this for a customer so they could understand. Nick, this is nothing new to you, but can you explain kind of what's going on here for those churches out there who are thinking about how can I use NDI?
Yeah, I mean, for the church, one of the things we hit on earlier, which is, with churches, they usually, most of the buildings have been around forever, so video wasn't a part of their workflow when they built the building. And so they've slowly added over time. So usually infrastructure is a major problem for them. They don't have SDI everywhere they need it to be, but they typically have network, or they can put network at a much lower cost or simpler, ease of use. And so suddenly being able to put a camera anywhere. I mean, churches are fluctuating beasts because, one Sunday they may want a camera on stage, the next they want it up in the catwalk. And so being able to say, I can put that camera anywhere and not have to worry about expensive cabling and running through conduits. I just got to drop a network cable and bam, I now have a camera wherever I want it to be. Overflow rooms are a great one that you call out right there, right? It's the ability to now say, cool, I also want to suddenly have live video that's not done over coax or through digital signage on the fly wherever I want it. And so now with a laptop or the right receiving device like the Pizzazz, you can have video anywhere, as long as you've got network connectivity. So it's really about giving these churches the flexibility of defining what they want to do on a week-by-week basis and modify their system to enable that. I worked at one years ago, and we had 6 locations that the cameras could go, and that was it, right? You could put those cameras in, and if the production supervisor suddenly said, well, I want the camera on the other side of the stage, I'm like, well, go buy me a 200-foot, $4,000 multi-core cable so that I can get that camera on that side of the stage. That's out the door now. All you need is a Cat5.
Very interesting.
Paul, really quick, we're getting some repeat audio just from you. I don't know how it's happening.
I think it's coming.
Facebook and YouTube now.
I think it's got to be coming back from Nick because I couldn't understand because we're both going through the same audio.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a little bit of an echo coming from you, Nick. Are you listening to your audio through your headphones?
Yeah.
So it can't be coming from you.
Yeah, Nick has earbuds. Paul has earbuds. I have earbuds. Can it be from my NDI, my vMix input on my vMix?
No. I am not sure what that is.
That's something that's never happened.
I've never had that happen to me before.
There's always something new every time you go
But
live.
I am hearing it. Let me see if I can.
No matter how many times you've done it.
I'm just going to close a bunch of browser inputs to see if that has to do with it. I think it might have.
Might have been a browser input.
All right.
Which that gets us all too often.
Do I have any spares?
Darn
No,
browsers.
mine are good. It's the little things.
Mm-hmm. But that can be very distracting. So just want to make sure that we cover that before we move on.
Thank you to the listener who caught that one and put it through.
Yes, absolutely. That's Johnny on Facebook and Danny also.
Thank you, guys. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about are these NewTek Connect Sparks.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that. Let's jump into this. This is actually, you know what? Can we jump into this in the post show because we've run out of time. We're going to pick this up in the post show and we're going to answer your questions, guys. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So hold on. We'll be here soon.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming.
Yeah, we're not that close.